Welcome to the Voices of the Goddess podcast. We believe that there is a goddess inside each and every one of us. When we use our voice to share that goddess, we support and uplift each other. Join us each week as we interview women to receive the message of their goddess within. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to become the goddesses they are meant to be. I am Julietta, the magical PT. I'm a physical therapist down here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And even though I'm a Western trained physical therapist, I'm really very holistic, alternative. People even ask me, like, do you think I should see a physical therapist too? And I'm like, you know what I am, right? And they're like, yeah, but you know what I mean, like, or a regular PT. So I'm a highly irregular PT. And and in addition to that, I'm kind of an artist. I shouldn't say kind of. I am an artist. I paint and I do work with crystals, making jewelry and art pieces. And but it's all about healing. Everything I do is about healing. Even this podcast doing is about helping people find healing. And I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Allyson.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. And as Julietta said, my name is Allyson Mancini. The one thing she left out is that we are both originally Midwesterners. She is from Wisconsin and I'm from Michigan, or Wisconsin originally, but we both have been in South Florida for a very, very long time. And again, I'm Allyson Mancini. I have been married to my husband. Okay, you ready? 28 years in 2 days.
Wow.
I know. Long time. So we have known each other for over 30 years. We have 2 adult children, a almost 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. And I am a certified holistic nutritionist. I got into nutrition just within the last couple of years, but my experience lies with over 20 years of dealing with a child with chronic conditions and my own personal health journey for over 12 years now. So I am excited to be here with my lovely co-host, Julietta.
So we were talking a little bit before we came on live here, and I am presently reading Big Magic, which is a book that came up a few podcasts ago, and especially because it has magic in the title, and everyone always uses the word magic when they're talking about me. It's like a big surprise, like how had Julietta not read the book Big Magic? And I just started it. I'm only part way through it. But one of the things that I really love that she talked about with creativity is, it doesn't matter if you're good at it or not. Just do it. And because it's not always about what the outcome of that creativity is. And she spoke specifically about a woman who had been a figure skater in her youth, and then as an adult was looking to, bring happiness and whatever to her life. And she was thinking back, like, when have I experienced, feeling how I want to feel? And the only time was when she was a kid skating. And so as a 40-something-year-old, she decided to put her skates on and, would get up 3 mornings a week and go to the rink with a trainer and practice ice skating, and, not with any desired outcome of being a competitive skater or anything, but just for the sheer joy of doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think back, like, with my painting, with my crystals, all of that, like when I started doing it, it was like, why am I doing this? What is the point of doing it? And, especially when I started painting, I'm like, what am I going to do with these paintings? Like at some point, I'm just going to have to throw them away because they're going to be occupying space and not even having a clue that anybody would actually want to buy my paintings. And I've actually, at this point, I've sold, I should have been keeping track of things, but didn't. But I don't even know how many paintings I've sold already, which is just kind of crazy to me. But imagine if I had not followed my inspiration and desire to to express myself creatively. So I guess it's just my message out there for everyone today. Like, don't let the fear of the outcome stop you from trying anything. Like, just go do it.
So that's so interesting. I love when we have these conversations because when we get ready for our interviews, we talk about all kinds of different things. And as we were discussing this, I was like, yeah, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, this is great conversation. I just can't, there's nothing in my life lately that makes me feel drawn to that. But of course there really is. I just wasn't really thinking about it until you started talking. So it's funny because, not funny, haha, but funny, coincidental funny.
Yes.
I posted a picture on social media recently of our backyard at the lake and this gorgeous sunset. There was no filter to that picture at all. It was literally on my iPhone. Actually, I used portrait mode and natural light. So if you count that as a filter, I'm not really sure, but it was pretty amazing. And I posted it as my banner picture, and people have just been commenting like how so beautiful and on and on and on. And my one longtime friend from 7th grade from Michigan, she said to me, you need to paint those. And my response to her was, yeah, I don't paint. She responded back, of all people to say that they're not going to try something creatively, I can't believe you just said that, or something like that. And I was like, oh, dang it. She's totally calling me out. So I responded back to her and I'm like, all right. I'm like, challenge accepted. Because she did. She's like, I double dare you. I go, challenge accepted. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get myself something. I said, but can I just start with like paint by numbers? And she responded, yeah, just make sure you go outside the lines sometimes. But the whole thing is, so I love how you're saying that, because what's interesting to me is, as you were talking about that book and the author refers to the woman that was the figure skater. So my happy place when I was growing up was actually by a lake. And so it's interesting to me to look forward now, and that's where that picture is. And that's where we go on the weekends. And it truly is where I feel the best. And so to start actually maybe trying to paint, like my girlfriend from Michigan, she's like, who cares? Who cares if it doesn't look good? Just attempt it, try it. So we'll see. I might become an artiste. We'll see.
We can paint together.
There you go. You can come to the lake and we can go on the back deck and we can paint. You can paint, I can paint.
Next lake weekend, I will bring all the paint supplies and we'll make it happen.
Deal. Fist pump right there.
Boom. All right.
Okay. All right. Are we ready for our guest?
We're ready to bring our guest on.
Peacefully. I know.
All right. Bring her on, Allyson.
Yay. Hello.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
So glad you're here joining us this morning. Would you please do us a huge favor and introduce yourself to our audience? Tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, of course. And let me first say that it is such an honor and a pleasure to be here amongst goddesses and to be able to sharing your energy today and have this experience with you. My name is Kia Baker. I am the creator and host of the Female Veterans Podcast and a live stream podcast, a lot like this one, called Hot Topics Live. And I interview amazing people. Julietta, you know that. You've been a guest. And we talk about things that can help and inspire people and help them feel better along their healing journey. And we just unveiled our YouTube channel. I've actually been putting videos there, going live there, and keeping them unlisted. And now I've just opened them up, and there's a bunch of content all of a sudden. So please go to our YouTube channel, Hot Topics Live, Kia, K-I-A, search that, and subscribe and share and enjoy. There is something for everyone. We talk about all types of topics. So that's who I am and a little bit about what I do.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, but really quickly, what's the YouTube channel again? Because I have to write it down.
Of course. So Hot Topics Live.
Mm-hmm.
And then to find it easier, put my name in too. So put in Kia. and
Yeah.
it'll come up right away, because otherwise you have to go through, there's Wendy Williams and other hot topics, and it's a whole, there's so much going on in there. So
Yeah,
if you just put Kia along with Hot Topics Live, you'll see one of my episodes come up. Then you can just click on my channel.
Cool.
You can't miss me. My face is all over it.
Nice.
You
I'm excited. That's awesome.
Something. Yeah,
and we'll also have links for this in the show notes so that our listeners can access that as well. Because I'm sure after hearing you speak today, they will want to check out more about you.
Thank you.
So, are we ready to dive into questions?
Let's do it.
So the first question is, Kia, what is your superpower, or what would you want it to be?
So that's a loaded question, but because I actually do think I have a superpower, and it's perseverance, right? I don't give up very easy, and I am always finding a way. And I have the mindset that everything is going to work out for me, even when it doesn't appear that it's working out for me. So I just keep going. And I also coach with London Real Academy. And when I coach with my students, you may recognize London Real from Brian Rose, the YouTuber.
Mhm.
But when I coach my students that come through the academy, they will tell you that my mantra is keep going. And that's because if you persevere, if you just keep going, if you just keep trying, if you just don't give up towards whatever your vision, dream, or goal is, you can achieve it, or something better, something more aligned with you. So I think that's my superpower. But if I had to pick one that I don't have, I probably would want to align with either the Wonder Twins from the Super Friends,
Awesome.
or maybe or Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Those probably my top two choices.
My sister and I used to watch Wonder Twins Activate every Saturday morning. Are you kidding me? That's hysterical.
They were my favorite.
Yeah.
And yes, shape of a wave.
Yes.
They solved a lot of problems with that.
Absolutely.
Well, I like that you say the keep going, because I have a coach that I've worked with in the past, and one of her things, as she always said, was no one's going to fire you. Like, you just keep doing what you're doing. You can't get fired. You're an entrepreneur. You're a solopreneur. Just keep that, like you said, the perseverance. So I think that's really important, and that's a great superpower. Aside from if I was Wonder Woman, I'd want to be that too. So.
Amazing.
Well, I was just having this conversation earlier with someone today about, having yourself in that mindset that even when it doesn't seem like things are going your way, like, trust in the universe. The universe has your back. And so even those things that seem like you're going backwards, or, things are getting interrupted, it's just what the universe has to do to put you in alignment with where you're supposed to be and where you're supposed to go. So trust those things that might seem like setbacks, because they might just be like course correction and getting you in the direction that you're supposed to go. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I feel that way. I feel like the universe is really a friendly place if you lean into it and accept that. I learned from my spiritual guide last year, nothing bad ever happens. And people challenge that statement, but I get what he meant. Yes, things that are terrible happen in people's lives all the time. But if you come out on the other side of it and you take away a lesson, you get stronger, you gain resilience, you can take that thing that happened to you and use what you have overcome to help inspire and uplift other people. If you change the perspective, if you just tweak it a little bit, you can see that life is just a miracle every day. A beautiful thing that happens. It makes us stronger and more amazing.
The example I use on that is, my mom got dementia and passed away, relatively young. She was 65 when she passed, and it was completely devastating at the time. But right now, I look back, and the relationship that I have with my dad now, I don't think that there's any way our relationship would have gone to the level that it has if my mom was still here. Because, my mom and I just had so much more contact. And even, you know, like when I would call home, I'd spend an hour talking to my mom, and then I'd spend, 10 minutes talking to my dad, because I'd already talked about everything with my mom. And, now I call home and I talk an hour with my dad. And so it's just, yes, it was terrible losing my mom, and I'm super grateful for what that has opened up for the relationship with my dad and I. So, it's all perspective and how you look at things. So, cool. Are we ready for question number 2?
Yeah.
So, question number 2, a lot of people struggle with, because most people coming on like to read, but what is your favorite book, or a book that has most greatly influenced you?
So you're right. I do love to read. I have a crazy Kindle library.
Picking one is not easy,
but no, it's not. It's not hard, actually. So I'm going to go in recent years. And a book that changed my life probably about 3 years ago was by Vanessa Van Edwards, and it's called Captivate. Yeah. So I'm a mom of 2 boys, and I'm also a Navy veteran. I'm actually a disabled veteran. I live with invisible illnesses, so it's really difficult for people to get their mind around that typically. But for a period of time, I was very ill. And so it was more beneficial for my family for me to stay home with my kids and sort of manage my illnesses and take care of my children. And after an unexpected breakup of my marriage, I had to sort of reemerge from all these years of being a stay-home mom and recreate myself and my life. And having spent so many years with my son as my best friend and spending most of my time with him, I had become really socially awkward. And I had I was shy. I was really introverted. I consider myself an ambivert. I am really at home as a shy, introverted girl. I am a reader. I like to paint. I love poetry. I journal. I like those things. I like old movies. I'm just a little different, so I like to do my own thing. And when I had to reemerge into the world and sort of go back to work, support my family, like sort of take care of things, I needed a little help to find that part of myself that was outgoing and could engage with new people. And this book, Vanessa considers herself a recovering awkward person. And I understand that now. I feel that way. And that book, it's the science of understanding people. Really, she's a people scientist and she studies these things. And so I really love science, and that captured me. And then reading the book was all about how to interact with people and to overcome that social awkwardness. And it really, really helped me. So I would recommend that book to anyone.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I need to read that, because, people are shocked when I tell them that I'm really an introvert, and I love to be home alone. And, just like you, I can be perfectly happy reading, journaling, meditating. And, but the life that I live requires that I pretend to be extroverted a lot. And obviously I'm doing a really good job at pretending, because a lot of people out there assume that I am extroverted. But, this book sounds really interesting, and I think I'm definitely going to have to read it. And I love too that, like, there's science behind it, because a lot of people know I'm very woo-woo, but I'm also a PT. I have a medical background, a science background, and so that always interests me as well. So I'm curious to check this out.
Yeah, you just spoke my love languages on so many levels. I'm listening to you going, oh my gosh, I need to know you better. My daughter has what would be considered two invisible illnesses that are can be very life altering. And I did the stay-at-home mom thing forever because of her health, because it was helping manage her situation. So I totally get that whole world. And I know people always say, Allyson, you're totally an extrovert. I think I'm an introvert and extrovert, honestly, because I do, and Julietta knows this, I do like my time where I journal and I read and I'm to myself, but I also do need to be around people at times. Like this last year and a half has been really hard for me personally, because even though I'm on Zoom with people all day long, it's not the same as being with actual bodies of people in the same room. So, but that I have not heard of that book, and I'm totally going to pick it up. What was her last name again? It's Vanessa what?
Van Edwards.
Van Edwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's amazing. You can follow her on Instagram, and she does appearances. She's lots of YouTube videos, so you can even find her there and learn everything, because I think that she's really got something there. Really helped me. I'm a testimonial. And after that, I started my podcast. I started coaching people. I started another podcast. I do workshops with female veterans. I do a lot of stuff now that I probably wouldn't have done. And most people would never guess that I really am shy.
That's awesome. I think it's amazing. And I have no idea how old your children are, but you're beautiful and you look amazing. So whatever you're doing is working well for you. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, my children are 6 and 15.
Okay,
and I actually have a birthday coming up a week from today. A week from yesterday.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be 46. Super excited.
Okay. I thought you were probably in your early 30s. Straight up, no lie, really did.
See, now we're best friends. That's how that works.
Listen, you're talking to someone that just hit 50 this year, and Julietta's in her very early 50s. So we're both, you know what I mean? So
we're in the same age group.
You're a bit younger than us, but yes.
I mean,
I'm approaching the mid 50s because I'm less than, what am I, 2 months away from being 54.
Oh, come on. You
It's all
guys
good.
are amazing.
It's just a number. It's just a number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm loving it.
You know what I think? Aging is a gift. And I just wrote this post on my Instagram at Captivate yesterday. And I put up my baby picture. And I wrote this post. I do these little microblogs there that try to inspire and stuff. And that's my private Instagram. And I wrote some of the things that I've learned. And I think you ladies would agree with me. But I think that every day is a gift. And there was a time in my life where I was chasing all these materialistic things in my 20s and stuff like that, before I became a mom. And I even, as I was pursuing my higher education, getting my degrees in my 30s, I had all these goals that were all materialistic and superficial, right? And ego driven. And now I realize life doesn't really even begin until you're 40. Everything before that is just healing, researching, and trying to figure your life out, right? And then when you get 40, things sort of begin to shift. And really, it's much more fun. And because especially as women, we know what we like to wear. We know what we want to look like. We've got all that figured out. We're much more confident. And I think that it really is just a gift. And now my goal is only to wake up happy every day. It's just that. And most days I get that, right? So it feels amazing just to wake up and be in a happy place and to go through life with just good energy and good people. And you start to realize, I think you don't have time to waste on things, because you've just got to go for the things that make you happy and passionate and excited, because you're reminded that once you get to my age, and I'm sure you guys felt this, or maybe not, people start dying regularly.
Yeah. No.
And you're just like, what? Who died? And so it reminds you constantly to not take any moments for granted and to keep pushing forward and make life amazing for yourself,
Yeah.
So
my husband, he just turned 51 last month, and he's had 3 three friends from college, all our age, 50, 51, pass away over the last, I would say 3 years. So probably about one a year. And he and I were just talking about that. He's like, we are not getting any younger. Like, I'm not sitting here going, we're like old, I don't envision us as old. He goes, but the reality is that a lot of the people that we know are not in the greatest health. They're not in the greatest shape. And you just never know. Right. And so I'm totally with you. And I think that if I could go back to my early 20s with the confidence that I have now and the ability to let things go like I do now, I wish I could give that to my 20-year-old self, and I give my daughter a lot of credit. She really, for the most part, could care less what people think. And I'm always like, oh, how did she get that? Because well, I wish I would have been. Even through high school, there would be all this catty stuff going on with girls. And I would say to her, I'd be like, hey, I heard so-and-so and so-and-so got into this. And she would look at me and go, I have no idea, Mom. It's the stupidest thing. I'm like, okay, great. Like, you're way better off than I was. So yeah, I wish I could. That would be my only thing, to go back to my 20s with the confidence that I have. But other than that, I'm pretty excited to be 50. I think it's actually pretty, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very, not refreshing. It's very, I don't know. I'm like, this is sweet. I'm 50 and I don't care what people think anymore. Like, I'm 50, go, you do you. That's kind of how I feel now. Such a different place. So
I love that.
Awesome. All right. Question number 3, Kia, is what is your favorite self-care practice?
Oh, hands down. I have several. Self-care is like my mantra. Again, on my Instagram, I'm always talking about self-care and self-love. Self-love is self-care and vice versa. Mm-hmm. But I have many. So my favorite thing to do is probably get my nails done, because it actually is a trigger for me. So when I am having a day where I'm not feeling my best, if I look down and my nails look pretty, I instantly feel better. So that's like a little trick that I do to make sure that I stay elevated in my mood. It's a little quick dopamine hit, I guess I should say. Mm-hmm. And so, but what I can't live without is meditating and journaling. Probably those two things are really, really the mainstays of my self-care. I do not get out of bed without meditating. I meditate every morning for like an hour. Sometimes I meditate at night as well. I love guided meditations. I love group meditating. If it has to do with meditation, it is really my happy place. I love it. I do binaural beats, everything. I do subliminal reprogramming meditations. I do all of that stuff. So I would say meditation is probably my favorite, followed by journaling. And then anything that helps me look good to myself, for myself.
And I love that you use the different kinds of meditation, because so often a lot of people out there like don't meditate because they think that it means sitting cross-legged and, and trying not to think of anything for, however long you're meditating. And there's so many different ways of meditating. And, so like, go and try it. And if you didn't like what you tried, try something else, because there's so many different ways of meditating. Mm-hmm. And yes, you can use all different ways as well. So we talk a lot about the Insight Timer. I don't know if you're familiar with that app, but it's great because all of those kinds of meditation that you mentioned, they're all available on that app. So it's super easy to get yourself, find something that resonates with you. So, and I was laughing her talking about nails. Like, I've just recently started doing my nails because there's something we talked about. I made up the story. Like, I'm a PT. I have to have short nails. It's pointless for me to try and have them painted because within a day they're chipped because I have to wash my hands so many times and da-da-da-da. And I got the gels, and the gels are lasting. And I mean, they can be short and pretty too. So yeah, get your nails did. It's nice.
I love it, girl. I'm about that life. It just makes me feel so much better. And we all know, like, those quick little dopamine hits, they help you. They help you stay elevated throughout your day. And I think it's important, if you're looking good to and for yourself, is just a very amazing practice for self-love. And I think that everyone should go get their nails done, and a pedicure too, if you're into it. I like to do my own pedicures. That's like a meditation, another form of meditation for me. But I think it's really important. So I love that you're getting your nails done. They look amazing, by the way.
Thanks. All right. And our last question, Kia, is, and especially you're a busy woman, you got a lot of stuff going on there. How do you keep yourself accountable?
Oh, goodness. Well, the mirror. I know that sounds probably crazy, but I am a big believer in talking to yourself as you would a friend, and a good pep talk is sometimes needed. And so that's the first step for me, is just getting in the mirror and doing affirmations and having a conversation with myself about what needs to happen. And just being honest with myself. I mean, I think that you have to be honest with yourself about where you're falling short, when you're falling short, and what the causes of that is. That way, you can't always just fake it till you make it, right? Or you can't just go, oh, you know what, it's going to be okay, and just encourage yourself, which is, you do need to encourage yourself, but you can't always just be the cheerleader. You have to sometimes give yourself the truth. You have to be willing to face your truth, even the harsh ones. And I like to do it in the mirror, just like I'm talking to a friend. I talk to myself, and then I also give myself a lot of self-love that way as well, and encouragement that way as well. And I also keep a coach. So that is a way for me to keep myself accountable, because if there's a new goal that I have, that's something I've never done before. For example, my next evolution is going into documentary filmmaking, and I've never done it before. So I got a coach, because you don't know what you don't know, right? I didn't go to film school, but it can't be that hard, right? So you can learn everything online. But but having a coach and someone there to go, okay, you're not doing this right. You need to fix this. You need to do that, to help you see where you're blind, right? To help you see through your blind spots. And it also helps keep you accountable. So, but it always falls back onto yourself, because the coach can tell you what you need to do, but you do have to push yourself to do it. And like I said, I do that by going into the mirror and saying, hey, what are you doing? You need to get this done. And I also work by a calendar, and so my to-do list is sort of by date. So I work by what is the thing that's due soonest, and that is the hard, then by the hardest task. So what is the biggest task? What can I knock out of that? And then, is it due the soonest? And that's sort of how I work through all of my projects that I have going on at the same time. So, yeah.
I love it. I love all of that. I mean, Julietta and I are big proponents of coaches or accountability partner, or whatever you can do that works for you. But I also really appreciate that you said about doing the documentaries, and you were just like, I'll figure it out. Like, my motto when we went into this podcast was, have you ever read Marie Forleo's books? Everything is Figureoutable. I
haven't read that.
Okay, it's called Everything is Figureoutable. I actually read her book back like last spring, summer-ish. And I was just like, yeah, everything is figureoutable. Like, we are smart and resourceful. And so when she and I decided to do this podcast, I'm like, I don't know how we're doing this, but we're going to figure it out. It'll be fine. So
that's kind of our motto, is everything's figureoutable.
I love it.
And we did take it from Marie Forleo. We did not make it up ourselves. So if she ever listens to this, which I would be honored, she now knows that we are giving her full credit for that. Everything is figureoutable. So anyways, yeah, that's really good.
Awesome.
All right. Should we do takeaways?
Yeah, let's do takeaways.
So mine's super simple. And you can see behind me all my books. I am a book junkie. As one of our previous guests said, book nerds unite. That is me. And I am going to get the Captivate book. I'm very interested in reading that, because I love learning about people and what kind of makes them do what they do. And you said she's a people scientist. So I'm pretty excited to check that out.
I feel like my takeaway is really simple too, but it's big, but it's simple. But very early on, when you were talking about your superpower and your persistence, and you said, I think you said that you said this to your students, that keep going because you can achieve it or something better. Mm-hmm. And I love that, just like keeping it open to, okay, I set my goal here, and as long as I keep going, it's not only possible might I achieve that, but I might achieve something even greater than that. So I'm like, open up to new perspectives.
Amazing.
What's your takeaway, Kia?
So I have a couple. My takeaway comes from when Allyson was talking about painting and how she got challenged to paint something. And she said, oh, okay, I'm going to do it. Even though your first response was like, I don't paint. But I like that you shifted that. Right? That you said, you know what, I'm going to start painting. And I absolutely loved, Julietta, that you said, I'm going to come over and paint by the lake and bring all the supplies. And I just love that kind of energy and that support. And actually goes back to what you said, Julietta, about painting, how you didn't know that your paintings would sell and then they started selling. And I think that just really speaks to, you just never know. If you just go for something, if you just try it, if it's exciting to you and if it gives you passion, like being by the lake, you know, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be selling pictures of paintings of your lake, Allyson. Like, you know, you never know what can happen.
Maybe.
If you just go for it and you just stay open and follow your highest excitement and what's passionate for you, you can live your best and most amazing life. And it doesn't even take a lot to do. Yeah.
Agreed.
Truth right there.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kia, for joining us today. It was such a pleasure having you on. And to all our listeners out there, thank you also for listening in today. And everything that we talked about, you can get links and all of that in the show notes, so you can figure out how to access Kia and her amazing podcasts. And also, if you need to get in contact with Allyson or I, our contact information will be there as well. And I want to wish everybody out there a magical day.
Bye, Kia. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Bye.